Hey everyone, this is Mike and today I'm going to be doing a guide on Gunbreaker. Now, if you've already been following the channel for a while, you know that I'll have a level 80 overview of Gunbreaker already up there. The main difference between that and this is going to be that the level 80 overview is literally what it says, more like an overview going over all of the skills, what all of the skills does, or what all of the skills do, and that kind of stuff, but I never really went too much into detail of how the actual rotation flows and how you actually play the job itself. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Gunbreaker first, because it is my favorite job in the game at the moment. And we're going to be talking about everything rotational wise about Gunbreaker. Now, very quickly before I go into the video, today is the last day to enter the no ping giveaway. If you're interested in grabbing a key of that, follow the link in the description to my Discord channel, and there's a little different text channel over there as well where you can enter the giveaway if you're interested in that. But with all of that out of the way, let's get right into it. Now, Gunbreaker is a job that has a 3-minute rotation, but you can kind of segment it in 3 different 1-minute rotations as well, because of their No Mercy buff. No Mercy is a 1-minute cooldown buff that lasts for 20 seconds. It gives you a damage buff, and basically all of your burst will most of the time align with this 1-minute buff. The only thing that doesn't align with the 1-minute buff is Bloodfest, which gives you 2 cartridges. And that is basically the reason why instead of having a 1-minute rotation, you have a 3-minute rotation, because Bloodfest is 90 seconds, so for your 90 seconds and your 1 minute to line up together, you basically mount at a 3-minute rotation. Now, the main reason why this actually isn't that much of a problem, like this Bloodfest all of a sudden giving you 2 extra burst strikes, is because in order for you to gain a burst strike, you basically do a 1-2-3 combo, and then you have a burst strike, which is 4 GCDs. And if you use Bloodfest twice, you basically get 4 GCDs as well. So every 3 minutes, you're going to have a 1-2-3 burst strike be replaced by just 4 burst strikes in total. So that's why Bloodfest kind of fits really nicely in the rotation. This also means that you have an opener, which you're going to be doing every 3 minutes. And then in between that, you're basically going to have 2 No Mercy windows that are going to be slightly different from each other. But they still follow the same principle that you want to have your Gnashing Fang combo, you want to have your Sonic Break, all of your off GCDs, and also 2 burst strikes into each and every one of them. And then of course, when you do have your Bloodfest back up again, you're going to have those 2 extra burst strikes there. Now, since Bloodfest is 90 seconds, it also lines up with stuff like Brotherhood. So every 90 seconds you're going to also have a Gnashing Fang combo, as well as your Bloodfest with those 2 extra burst strikes in there. So if you're playing with a monk, Gunbreaker is still able to fully utilize their kit as well, which is what makes Gunbreaker so very strong, because Gunbreaker pretty much aligns with every single job in the game when it comes to raid buffs. Of course, Monk is the only one that has a 90-second buff, I believe, because I think Astro is 2 minutes, I'm not 100% sure on that. But basically, if they don't have their full burst with No Mercy in there, they'll at least still have their Gnashing Fang combo. And then, for example, with Monk, which is 90 seconds, you're also going to have your Bloodfest there as well. So that's pretty much the idea behind the rotation. 1-minute segments of No Mercies that kind of look different every single time. And then you have your big 3-minute reopener again every 3 minutes, because your rotation ends off those 3 minutes as well. So the main important part about Gunbreaker is knowing where you are in your rotation, so that you're able to dump your gauge accordingly, and then have the perfect amount of gauge ready to do the set rotation that you are at. Now, very quickly as well, Gunbreaker's special GCDs, I guess you could say, which are your Gnashing Fang, your Sonic Break, and your Burst Strikes, they do not interrupt your combo, so you're able to start your combo anywhere you want, and then you can go into your Gnashing Fang combo, or your Sonic Break, or your Burst Strike, to dump your gauge accordingly wherever you are. So it doesn't really matter even if you make a few mistakes here and there. Or for example, because of a fight, like if there is some downtime in a fight, your rotation is going to be differing as well, of course. So if those kind of things happen, you're still able to use all of your burst when you need to, even when you're like midway through a combo or something like that. Now, let's quickly take a look at the opener. So the opener follows a very simple, like the opener basically sets you up for the rest of the rotation. So if you do the opener correctly, the rest of the rotation is pretty much going to follow very smoothly. Now, I'm going to have the opener on screen real quick right here. I'll also have a little thing in the top of the screen so that you can basically follow along at home. Basic principle is get a cartridge, go into your No Mercy while you're like in the middle of your solid barrel combo. The reason why you want to be in your solid barrel combo is because after you hit your first hit, you're going to be able to get an extra cartridge at the end to do an extra burst strike, and you'll still be able to get a next cartridge before your Gnashing Fang comes up again. Now, very important thing about Gnashing Fang as well is that Gnashing Fang is technically a 30-second GCD, or like a 30-second cooldown GCD, but it scales with skill speed, meaning that your Gnashing Fang and your Sonic Break as well is going to come up 1 GCD earlier than you actually need it. So once a minute you're going to be delaying your Sonic Break and your Gnashing Fang by 1 GCD so that it fits in your No Mercy window. If you wouldn't be delaying your Gnashing Fang and your Sonic Break, Sonic Break's not really going to be the problem here, but Gnashing Fang will be, then your Gnashing Fang is basically going to misalign with your No Mercy and it's going to come up too soon, so that you're basically going to be missing out on all of that damage under your No Mercy damage buff. So that is why we're going to be delaying the Gnashing Fang by 1 GCD. Now you can do this in the 30-second part of your rotation, you can delay it there if you want. For example, say your monk used used Brotherhood a GCD too late, then you can delay your Gnashing Fang a GCD there. But then you need to make sure that you use it on cooldown when No Mercy comes up. But for the most part, and what you're going to be seeing in this video as well, is that I'm going to be delaying my Gnashing Fang by 1 GCD before the No Mercy window comes up. So as you can see, that's pretty much the opener. Just kind of practice this, I guess you could say, because this is pretty much the best thing you can do, and this also sets up the rest of your rotation for the rest of the fight. Now, of course, because a lot of the fights have downtime, your rotation will vary from boss to boss. But of course, if you just practice this, if you get good at the general rotation, you'll always be able to like adjust to every fight and see what you can do with downtime and stuff like that. Leviathan is a really good fight to practice in that way, because you can see where you need to hold your Gnashing Fang combo or where you might want to dump it and only use half of it, for example, before the boss goes away for its Maelstrom. So Leviathan is a really cool fight when it comes to optimizing your rotation, I guess you could say. But that's the opener, that's the general idea behind the rotation. Now let's actually go into the rotation, and I'll perform it whilst giving some commentary on why I am doing certain things where. So first of all, let's start with our openers. As we saw before, we're just gonna do the opener. I'll put a little bit on screen as well, so that you can follow along again if you're still having trouble with the opener. And then after this, we're obviously going to go into a big 3-minute rotation, and then I'm going to keep going until we get back to our reopener at the end. And then, as you can see, if you use No Mercy in the second half of your GCD, then you're going to be able to fit this final burst strike in right before No Mercy ends. Of course, if you start your GCD when the buff is still active, the buff can go away, like during the execution of your GCD, but the buff will still be applied for the duration of that GCD, so you still get it. And as you can see, it basically just gives us another cartridge just as our Gnashing Fang comes up again. For the next No Mercy, we're going to have 2 cartridges stored and finish our combo, so we're going to dump 1 cartridge here on a burst strike. We are going to be delaying our Gnashing Fang by 1 GCD, so that we can get it underneath our No Mercy again. And then we basically follow the principle again of how a No Mercy should look like. Right there. And then we can do 1 more solid barrel combo to get ourselves another cartridge to finish in that last burst strike right before the buff ends again. And then we still have 3 GCDs left before our Gnashing Fang comes up again, meaning that we'll have another cartridge to go into our next Gnashing Fang combo. Now this Gnashing Fang combo also lines up with your Brotherhood if you have a monk. This is especially good because you have a full Gnashing Fang combo, you have your Blast Zone or whatever it's called, Danger Zone, and you also have your Bloodfest, so meaning that you have 2 extra cartridges to spend on those burst strikes. And then going into our last No Mercy window, we're going to have 2 cartridges stored, and we're also going to have a 1-2 combo ready up, so that we basically have all of our cartridges ready to spend by the time that our burst ends. finish off the solid barrel combo, and then we have 2 more burst strikes. As you can see, every No Mercy window will have a Gnashing Fang in it, and it will also have 2 burst strikes regardless of where you are in your rotation. And then of course, if you reopen, which is going to be our next No Mercy window, we're going to have those 2 extra burst strikes in there from the Bloodfest. So since we are going to be reopening, it's very important that we dump all but 1 cartridge before we go into our No Mercy, because otherwise it's going to be a bit weird by delaying our skills and stuff like that. And the more you delay your skills, the more everything gets out of sync. So just dump all your cartridges. And now we're basically back to doing the openers, so we just do a solid barrel combo, get our 1 cartridge, start a solid barrel combo, and then we go into our first phase again. Basically repeating the opener that we did 3 minutes ago. Make sure that we use that brutal shell to keep our combo going, because if you don't use that brutal shell there, you're basically going to be dropping your combo, and then finish it off with 1 last burst strike. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Gunbreaker is a pretty fun class. I really like it because it just basically stays the same every way, like every 3 minutes. There are small variations to the rotation in that 1 minute buff window that you have every minute, of course. And then at 3 minutes you basically start again at where you started the fight. And then it basically is your job to try and keep all of your cooldowns aligned, so that you basically don't get out of sync, because the more your skills get out of sync from your burst windows, the harder it will be to keep your damage up there. So that's pretty much my Gunbreaker rotational guide. I really enjoyed the job. I hope you guys do as well, and I hope this video is able to help you guys play the job a bit better as well. So that's going to be it for me. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.